Hey, what's good, people? This your boy Cincy, aka Mr. Good Vibes, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you guys doing? How is life? How is your trading? You know how it is, man. My prayer is that the Lord Almighty will continue to protect and guide you in this trading journey in the mighty name of Jesus. Now, with that being said, on my last video, I posted a YouTube video saying that this market is pretty tricky, that the red signs were looming in the corner, despite the fact that we got a relief bounce in the market. I personally did not trust the market, which is one of the reasons why I have been on the sidelines and just currently focusing on trading Forex. Now, you gotta be very, very careful as you trade this market. So today, I'm gonna be showing you guys a quick update on what I think is going on in this market and why I personally think these are some dangerous times in this market and why I think the bears are still completely in control of this market. So I'm going to be diving into my chart and doing a quick top-down analysis of the three major indexes, which are the SPX 500, the US 30, and the Nasdaq 100. Now, these companies are companies that reside in the US and they make up majority of the top US companies. And if these indexes are performing well, then it simply means the US market is doing very well. Now, also, there are still some economic data that are going to be dropping this week. A few of them dropped today, and I expect a few more to drop tomorrow, like the FOMC minutes tomorrow. And Thursday is a public holiday to honor the death of the president, Carter. And on Friday, we're definitely going to be getting the job reports. Now, all this economic data are going to be making quite an impact on the market. So with that being said, let's quickly jump into my chart and talk about some of the things that I'm seeing and why I think this market is still being controlled by the bears. So as you guys know, again, I always like to start from this huge candle. So this was the big candle which we got last year after the last Fed's meeting, and you can see the market reacted violently based on that call because the rate cut reduced from 4 to 5 down to 2 in 2025, and the market did not like that. And after that huge drop, see what happened. We found support on this my yellow line, and the market had a relief rally during the break, or what we call a Santa rally. And what happened, we met this trend line as a resistance, and the market rolled over, which is when I dropped another video saying that this market was a bull trap, that you got to be careful about that. And we got that bull trap and another relief rally back to the trend line, and only for us to get dumped again and going back to this support eventually, probably before the end of the week. Again, this is why you got to be careful. So with that being said, you can see on my top-down analysis, what I typically do is, again, I will take the weekly chart and take the daily chart and look at all my signals, all my indicators there, and sum them up to see which of the direction is being favored. Are we favoring the bears, which means is the market going down, or is the market bearish? Or are we favoring the bulls, which means is the market going up, or is the market bullish? For those of you who don't understand what I'm talking about. So if you look at my Excel sheet, what you see here is I do have on the indicator tab daily, you can see underscore daily and underscore weekly. So the D represents daily and the W represents weekly. Now, these are the names of my indicators that I look at on both the daily and weekly chart. And what I do is I mark them X and O, which means the green represents a buy. So if it's a buy signal, I will simply come here and mark that as 1. And if it's a sell, I will mark that side as 1. And at the end of the day, I sum them up and just try to see which one is giving me more. So you can see for the XPX, currently when I did my analysis, I'm getting 13 more sell signals with respect to 9. And for the Nasdaq 100, which is the tech index, I was getting 14 more sell signals with respect to 8 buy signals. And on the US 30, I was getting 15 more bearish signals with respect to 7 bullish or buy signals. So I'm going to go on the chart and tell you guys how I came up with this number, so that you don't think that I'm just making up this number. So we're going to do it together. So let me go back to my chart real quick, and you can see now for the first indicators, they typically go on the chart, and that's what you see here, the B and the green arrow. So the B is the ASGMA and the arrow here is the SSL. So you can see we have a B sign, which means buy, and we have a green arrow, which means the direction is going to the upside. If If you get an S sign, that would be more of a sell, and if you get a downward arrow, that would be more of a price going down to the downside. So you can see on my Excel, the ASGMA is currently a buy, so I've marked this as 1, and I've also marked the SSL as 1, which is on the green side, because this is a buy signal for both of them. So you can see those are the two signatures that you see. Now the other thing that you see here is the Ichimoku. I always like to look at the Ichimoku. Again, if the price is above the Ichimoku, then that is a buy or a bullish signal, or if it's below the Ichimoku, then that is going to be a bearish or sell signal. So you can see the price is currently above this Ichimoku, which is this green cloud, which is why when I came to my Excel, I marked the Ichimoku on the daily as 1. All right. Now the baseline is this baseline right there. I have 3 baselines. This channel that you see here and this yellow line. So the idea is that you want the price to be above the baseline in order for you to consider that a bullish move. And if it's below the baseline, then it's more of a bearish or a sell signal. So you can see the current price here, as we got that big flush from the trend line, you can see that the current price here is below the channel baseline and also my major primary baseline here. So which is why I came to my Excel sheet, and now we're going to mark this baseline. As a matter of fact, let me make this update, because as of yesterday this was above, right? So I'm going to come here, take away that baseline and mark it as bearish. Now again, you can see this is a live update that I'm doing, that I'm showing you guys. Now the SMI1 has 2 signatures or 2 signals that I look at on the SMI. So you're wondering which one is the SMI, and the SMI is pretty much, if you look down below, I have quite a few indicators that are below the chart, like the SMI. So this is the SMI, and it's very simple. I have a red line and I have a green line. Now this is how this works. If the red line is above the green line, then that is a sell signal. But if the green line is above the red line, then that is more of a buy signal in this case. So you can see the current situation is the red line above the green line. Now the other thing you also have to pay attention to is I have 3 lines, right? And this yellow line is the 0 line. You can see that this signal line are now falling under below that 0 line on the negative side. So we are getting a sell signal or a bear signal in a bearish environment. So there's a chance that you could get a bearish signal, but on the positive side, kind of like what we see on this pattern. So you can see this is what I call a double whammy, which is why I came here, I marked the SMI 1 and 2 sell signal. So you can see 1 for the SMI1 and 1 for the SMI2 on the red side. So that's a sell signal. The other one is the DD index. So the DD index is simply this indicator. So you can see the DD index actually today is going above my 0 line. Again, this is the daily chart, which is why we mark the D. The D is highlighted. If it was a weekly chart, this W would be the blue highlight. So you can see this DD is above my 0 line. So that is telling me that this is a buy signal or buy indicator, which is why I came to my Excel and marked the DD as 1. Now the MACD again has 2 signals, kind of like what we saw for the SMI, which is why I marked it MACD 1 and MACD 2. So let's see what the MACD is doing. So the MACD is simply this indicator right here. So you can see whenever I go from red to green, that is a buy signal. If it goes from green to red, then that's a sell signal. So we have a red color, and not only that, we see that the red bars are also below my 0 line. So that is telling me that I have a sell signal in a bearish environment, which is why I came here and marked my MACD 1 and 1 for sell. Now the TSI is the one below it, and you can see below it is the TSI. Very simple. If the signal line is below the 0 line on the negative side, then that is a bearish signal or a sell signal. If it was above, it would be more of a bullish signal or a buy signal. So I came here and simply just came here and marked the TSI as sell. Now the ASH is the other signature that is below it. You can see below the TSI is the ASH, and it's again very simple. It's a 2-line cross, in which is we have a red line and a green line. If the red is above the green, that is a bearish or a sell signal. But if the green is above the red, then that's going to be more of a buy signal. So you can see the current status is the red above the green, telling me this is more of a bearish signal in this case, which is why I came down to my Excel and marked my ASH as 1. So we've done the complete analysis for the daily. So the next thing I want to do is switch it to the weekly and pretty much come to my chart and just click on this W. That's all you have to do. You click on the W and we do the same thing. So what do we see on the weekly? We can see on the weekly we have the S and the green arrow. So now remember on the daily for the SPX 500 we had the green and we have the green arrow and the B sign. Now we have the S sign and the red arrow. So we know that on the weekly it's showing me more of a bearish signal. So I simply come to my Excel and I mark my ASGMA weekly and my SSL weekly as 1 and 1. So again, you can see on the daily it's 1 and 1 on the bullish side, which is the green side, but on the weekly it's 1 and 1 more on the bearish side. Hope I'm communicating, hope I'm making sense. If I'm not, please do drop a comment in the comment section, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe so that way this channel can reach out to more people interested in content like this. The next one is the Ichimoku. Very simple, nothing too much into it. Again, it's the same thing. The Ichimoku is this green cloud. You can see that the price is still above the Ichimoku. So we just simply come to my Excel sheet and mark the Ichimoku as 1. Again, if the price was below the Ichimoku, then that would be more of a sell signal. Because it's above it, it's a buy signal or bullish signal. So we're going to mark it on the green side. Now the next one is the baseline. So what is the baseline telling me? Again, I always want to see my baseline either above or below my 3 major moving averages. So you can see right here, this is the price and it's currently below these 3 major moving averages. You can see these are my moving averages right there, my 3 baselines. So that's telling me that's a bearish or sell signal. So I simply come to my Excel and mark the baseline on the weekly 1 on the negative side. Now the SMI 1 and SMI 2 again is the same interpretation, but you remember we can get 2 different interpretations here, right? So if I go down to my SMI, again, if you look down below, you start to see the other indicators, right? So now this is the SMI. Now what you see here is a crossover. The red is above the green, which is more of a bearish or a sell signal. But if the green is above the red, then that's more of a buy or a bullish signal. But because this red above the green is also above 0 or on the bullish side, then we're definitely going to call that what I call a 1 and 1, which means I'm going to give the SMI on the weekly 1 for the bearish side and 1 for the bullish side. Hope that makes sense. The next one is the DD. I come back to the DD and I minimize this. Below this SMI is the DD right there. You can see the DD is below the 0 line on the negative side. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the DD as 1 on the negative side. The next one is the MACD. 2 interpretations, remember. So we come down here, we look at the MACD real quick. Let's minimize this and go to the MACD. What you see here is a negative or a red bar. So we're going from a green color to a red color. So that is a sell signal. But however, you can see that the bars are above the 0 line. So which is why when I come to my Excel, I'm simply just going to mark the MACD 1 for the bullish side and mark the other MACD 2 for the bearish side. And now the TSI is the one below the MACD. Very simple to interpret. And what do we see? We can see that the signal line today is actually beginning to go below the 0 line. So if it's above the 0 line, then that's a buy or bullish signal. But because it's below the 0 line, then this is more of a bearish or a sell signal. So I simply come down to my Excel one more time and mark the bearish side or the red side, give it a 1 for the TSI weekly. Now the ASH on the weekly, we simply look at it again, the same interpretation like we did on the daily. And what is this telling me? We want the green to be above the red in order for us to classify this as a bullish signal. But the minute we see the reverse, which means the red above the green, kind of like what we saw on the daily, then that is more of a bearish signal. So because the green is above the red, this is going to be more of a bullish signal for that indicator. And I simply just come and mark it as 1. So by the time I mark everything and I do all my analysis, I look at the total between them and you can see that I'm getting 14 red or 14 bearish signals with respect to 8 buy or bullish signals, which is why I believe that this market is still very bearish, that the bears still have some control of this market. And guess what? If this number continues to increase and this one continues to decrease, then that is definitely going to be a lot of red flags which you have to definitely consider. Now the Nasdaq 100 was also another major index. Again, we are getting on fact the same value as the XPX 500. Again, we can quickly take a look at the Nasdaq 100 just to see what that is doing. And if I go to the Nasdaq 100, what do I see? The Nasdaq 100 is actually down, what, 1.87% today, about 388 points today. So let's quickly look at the daily and see what the daily is telling us. So you can see on the Nasdaq 100, we do have a little bit of a mixed signal. So we have the S sign, but the funny thing is we actually only see a green arrow. So if I come down to my Excel, you can see that, let me just confirm that one more time. I don't see the B sign. I can't find my B sign. So the most current ASGMA here is a sell, but you can see that the arrows have been interchanging. It went from red to green, back to red, back to green. So it's currently green. So you can see we have an S sign, but with a green arrow. That's a mixed signal. So I simply come here and I'm going to mark my ASGMA here as 1, and I'm going to take my SSL and move it to the buy side, because this signature came in, I believe, yesterday. Yep, so it came in yesterday. So we're going to move it to the right buy side. So now the price is still above the Ichimoku. However, my price is now below my 3 major baseline, or my 3 major moving average. Again, this is also a trend line which I drew for the Nasdaq 100, and you can see that we've touched it right there. We fell down, touched it, fell down back, and touched it again. So you can see it's almost like we are forming lower highs. You know, this is a high right there, that's one high right there, and now another lower high right there, which means there is a chance that we are going to break this support. And again, when you have lower highs, what happens is that you tend to start seeing these higher lows. So you can see that's one low right there, and that's another low right there. So there's a chance that we could see another low somewhere around this region, which is why I say again, you gotta be very, very careful in this market. So again, let me just dive back to my analysis. So I come here and mark this as 1. Ichimoku is still above, so we've marked Ichimoku as 1 on the green side. The baseline, like I said, is bearish because we see the price now above my 3 major baseline. Now SMI, it's the same interpretation like we saw on the XPX. So the XMI at the signals below, so you can see that the red is still above the green and it's actually below the 0 line. So simply, what do? Come down and mark the SMI 1 and 1 for, you know, the 2 signals on the bearish side or on the red side. And for the MACD, what do? We look at the MACD. You can see so we first look at the DD. You can see the DD is showing me the signal is above 0 today. So again, I simply just come here and mark this DD, take this DD and put it on this side. Now the MACD is the one below the DD index. So let me minimize the DD index and open up the MACD. And with the MACD, you can see that we have red color all through below the 0 line. So that is 2 bearish signals. So we're going to take the MACD, these 2, MACD 1 and MACD 2, and mark it 1 and 1 on the bearish side. The TSI, as we see, is giving us again, the TSI, the signal is below the 0 line, and that is a bearish signal. If it was above the 0 line, then that would be more of a bullish signal, which is why I marked it as 1 for the bearish. And the ASH, the current ASH is giving me the red color above the green, which is a bearish signal or a sell signal. Very, very simple. So we simply come to my Excel and we mark the ASH as 1. Again, you go ahead and you do the same thing for the weekly, and you can see for the weekly it's the same thing. We're getting a red arrow, and the most recent ASGMA is still this B sign. So you can see it's mixed. So we simply just come to my Excel one more time and we mark the ASGMA as 1 for the bearish, for the bullish side, and we mark the SSL as 1 for the bearish side. The Ichimoku, the price is still above the Ichimoku, so we'll mark 1 on the bullish side because we want the price to be above the Ichimoku for it to be bullish. The baseline, on the other hand, let's take a look at that real quick. So you can see the price is still somewhat above this moving average, but below this other 2 moving averages. So it's a little bit of a mix. I don't get a full confirmation yet on this one, so I'm going to leave it on the bullish side for now. And just, you know, until I see that price go below the baseline, then I can confirm that that is a bearish signal. So I'm going to leave it above the bullish side for now, or we can just mark it 1 and 1 just to call it even, you know, in this case. Now the SMI 1 and SMI 2, again, very, very simple. We want the SMI to give us what? red above the green, that is a sell signal or bearish signal. But the fact that it's still above zero still justifies that there is still somewhat some type of bearish signal in a bullish environment, which is why I came here and marked my SMI. Let me make sure I'm doing the right thing here. Is this the daily? Oh, sorry, this is Nasdaq for the weekly. Sorry. So for the weekly, so let me take this back. It's supposed to be, yeah. So I'm supposed to mark this one and 1. So Nasdaq SMI Nasdaq for the weekly. So you can see I mark this 1 for the bearish and I mark this 1 for the bullish. Now DD on the other hand is again similar interpretation like we saw before. And the DD, what do we see? It's still hanging around that zero line. It's not yet below it, so we're still going to give this one a bullish signal for the DD, so which is why we marked 1 for the DD on the green side. So the MACD, for the MACD, we have MACD 1 and MACD 2. So let's see what MACD 1 and 2 are telling me. MACD 1 and 2, I say please, okay, you can see we have a red bar, we have a red color above the zero line. So we simply just come here and mark the MACD 1 and 1, and TSI on the other hand is telling us, let's see, the TSI is still above zero line, which is bullish. So and the last one is the ASH. You can see the green is still above the red for the weekly. So we simply just come here and mark this 1 and 1. So what you're getting here is pretty much a mixed signal. So you can see almost like a mixed signal. It's not really a confirmed signal. So we're going to leave the Nasdaq the way it is. So, but again, you can see the SPX is already telling us that the red flags still loom. And the US 30 on the other hand is definitely the US Dow Jones 30, which is the last index that I typically look at. And you can see this one was actually down 0.4% today. And if you look at the daily, you will see a lot of bearish signals. You can see that the price is below my moving averages. The price is also below the Ichimoku in this case. So we pretty much come here. You can see we mark the Ichimoku daily on the negative side. The ASGME and the SSL, let's see what that is telling me. It's currently actually a buy and a red and a green arrow. So we simply just come here and just mark those two on the bullish side. The baseline is definitely bearish. The SMI on the other hand, on the daily, again we look below the chart, you can see the SMI is actually the green above the red, but it's below the zero. So we simply just come and mark the MACD 1 and 1. So 1 for the bullish, 1 for the bearish. The TSI on the other hand, just pretty much come here and take a look at the TSI. You can see the TSI is still bearish below the zero line. So we pretty much just come here and mark the TSI right there on the bearish side. And the ASH on the other hand is going to be this one. And this signature, you can see the red is above the green. Then that is definitely a bearish signal for the US 30. And I simply come here and mark that side as well. Now, if you take a look at the weekly, see what the weekly is saying for the US 30. You can see, simply just click on this W. On the US 30, you can see that we have the S sign and the red arrow. So definitely going to mark the ASGMA and the SSL 1 and 1 on the bearish side. The Ichimoku, what is the Ichimoku saying? You can see on the weekly, the Ichimoku, the price is still above the Ichimoku, which is why we've marked this as 1 on the bullish side. The baseline, however, is currently below my 3 major indexes. So this is the price. You can see this is my moving average. These 3 lines, you can see the price is below, so it's fair enough. We can mark this as bearish. And the SMI, on the other hand, is simply this. And you can see the red is above the green. That is a bearish signal, but slowly approaching the zero territory, but still on the positive side. And because of that, we're going to share this one and give the SMI 1 for the bearish side and 1 for the bullish side. The DD on the other hand, let's see where the DD is. The DD on the other hand is below the zero line. You can see clearly below the zero line, and we're just going to go ahead and mark the DD 1 on the bearish side. And the MACD 2 signals, again we've shared 1 and 1, and let's take a look at that just to confirm what that is telling me. So you can see the MACD It's this one. You can see now we're having the red bar indicating the sell, but you can see the red bar is closely approaching zero, but it has found support on this zero line. It's not yet below zero, so we're going to give it a 1 and 1 as we still have it above that zero level. So that's why I marked it a 1 and a 1. And the TSI on the other hand, what is the TSI telling us? You can see the TSIs are now below the zero line. You can see this signal line is now below the zero line or on the negative territory. And the ASH, you can see that we've seen a crossover as of last week, and now the red is now above the green, which is why I come here and simply just mark this as 1 and 1, and the total is 15 to 7 on the US 30. So you can see my major indexes are showing a lot of red flags, which we have to be careful about. Now let's just quickly talk about crypto just briefly. I'm not going to focus more on crypto. You can see today we see a huge drop in crypto, and I still need to find out what exactly is going on. I haven't really done a lot of news checking because I've been busy today, but you can see crypto is down 5% today, so obviously something happened, and I'm going to find out why. But now let's quickly look at crypto. You can see on my daily chart on my crypto, we have my B sign still looms, but you can see now we're getting a red arrow today, and now we are now below all my moving averages, and now going into that Ichimoku loom. It's not even below the Ichimoku, it's inside the Ichimoku. So we have a lot of red flags here. So you can see again we have the B sign, which is still the ASGMA, but this is now SSL is now 1. The Ichimoku, we're going to share 1 and 1 because the price is inside the Ichimoku, and my baseline is now going to be on the bearish side because the price of the Bitcoin has now gone below my 3 major moving averages. Now the SMI on the other hand, if I take a look at it, you can see the SMI is still pretty much bullish and above zero. So we're going to mark the SMI 1 and 1 on the bullish side. The DD on the other hand for Bitcoin is still above zero, so that is good, which is why I've marked the DD as 1 on the bullish side. MACD, let's see what the MACD is saying. The MACD on the other hand, again we have green bars nicely done above my zero line. So I'm just going to come here, we're going to mark the MACD 1 and 1 on the bullish side. And the TSI on the other hand, we're going to take a look at the TSI. You can see the TSI on the other hand is above zero on the daily for Bitcoin. It's on the positive side, and that is good. So we're going to mark this as 1, and the ASH on the other hand is going to be this signal right there, or this indicator. You can see the green is above the red. That is a bullish signal, and that is definitely still good. So we're going to mark that as 1 on the ASH. Now we've done it for the daily. If you go to the weekly, let's see what the weekly is telling us. If I click on the weekly, again you can see on the weekly chart you're seeing a red arrow and an S sign. And if I come down here, I'm going to have to mark this and this on the red side, showing me that this is a sell or bearish signal for Bitcoin. Ichimoku, where's the Ichimoku? The Ichimoku is still above, the price is still above the Ichimoku, which is this green cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the Ichimoku here as 1 on the bullish side. And the baseline, what is the baseline doing in this case on the weekly? The base, you can see the price is still above my major baseline, so which is why I came here and I marked my baseline here as 1. Now my SMI, let's see what the SMI is doing for Bitcoin. For SMI, you can see that we still have the red above the green, but it's above the zero line. So we're going to come down to the SMI and mark this 1 for the bearish side and mark 1 for the positive side again, right? Very simple. And DD on the weekly, we simply just come to the weekly. The DD is the next one. You click on the DD, you can see the DD is now below the zero line. You can see the signal line is now below the zero line. That is a bearish signal, which is why I went ahead and marked my DD on the red side. And my MACD, 2 signals. I'm looking at 2 signals on the MACD. And if I was to minimize this and look at the MACD, what do you see? We see we've gone from green to red, but we are still above the zero line. So that is still telling me that this is a bearish signal, but still in that bullish territory. So I'm simply just going to come here and mark my MACD for Bitcoin 1 and 1 in this case. And my TSI in this case is going to be, let me see my TSI. You can see my TSI is still above zero in this case, so that's still bullish. So, and ASH, you can see the ASH still holds the green above the red. So which is why I came here and marked the TSI and the ASH on the green side or on the bullish side. So you can see by the time I do the total, I'm getting 15 to 8. So despite that 5% drop on Bitcoin today, I'm still seeing that the Bitcoin is still generally still bullish. So maybe this dip might actually be an opportunity for you to buy some more Bitcoin. Again, this is what I'm doing. I'm not expecting you guys to do the same thing. Just quick disclaimer, but this is just what my own top-down analysis is saying. And like I said, this is the Forex and Bitcoin, no, Forex and crypto and stocks page. So I do pretty much cover everything. So expect some more videos of how I typically trade Forex using this same analysis and some of the top Forex plays I'm looking at, and also look deep down into some of those other crypto plays that you might be suspecting, such as the Ethereum, Solana, Sui, and Doji, and all that good meme coin out there that a lot of people are interested in buying. Again, these are the simple ways which I'm going to be analyzing the market, and I'm not going to be trying to go beyond what my analysis is saying. I'm just going to stick to it and just follow these simple rules or plan which I have created for myself. All right, okay, this is your boy Cincy, aka Mr. Good Vibes, and let's make some small money together, even if it's just a little, in this 2025, and make sure that you're trading safely. All right, thank you, and see you next time.